Good evening, fellow Americans. Today, I want to address a tragic incident that occurred on American soil 30 years ago. The events that took place in Waco, Texas, still haunt us today. The loss of 76 innocent lives, including 27 children, is a stain on our nation's history. However, instead of dwelling on the past, I want to focus on the lessons we can learn from this tragedy. Lessons that can help us make America a better place, a place that the world can love again. First and foremost, we must acknowledge that we, as Americans, hold ourselves to the highest standards of accountability. We recognize that good intentions do not justify the use of deadly force. As we reflect on the tragedy of Waco, we must hold our government accountable for its actions and demand transparency and honesty. Secondly, we must acknowledge that the use of chemical weapons against our own people is never justifiable. The use of tear gas against the Branch Davidians violated the Chemical Weapons Convention Treaty that we had signed, which pledged never to use nerve agents or mustard gas against enemy soldiers. This was a shameful moment in our nation's history, and we must ensure that our government is held to the same standards as other nations. Thirdly, we must acknowledge that language can be used to manipulate the truth. The FBI's loudspeakers declaring this is not an assault as they continued their attack on the Branch Davidians is a prime example of this. As Americans, we demand transparency and honesty from our government, and we must hold our leaders accountable for their words and actions. Fourthly, we must acknowledge that Congress must perform its duty of oversight and hold our government accountable for its actions. We cannot trust our leaders to expose federal misconduct. It is up to us as citizens to demand that our representatives in Congress act with integrity and hold our government accountable. Finally, we must acknowledge that the media has a critical role to play in shaping public opinion. We must be discerning consumers of media and demand unbiased reporting. We cannot allow the media to absolve our government of any wrongdoing, as was the case in the aftermath of Waco. In conclusion, my fellow citizens of the world, we must learn from the tragedy of Waco and demand accountability from our government. We must hold ourselves to the highest standards of transparency and honesty, and we must ensure that our government is held to the same standards as other nations. Let us work together to make America a better place, a place that the world can love again. Thank you.